All right, gang, you got time and space for stuff? You want to get more limber? You want to do something like this one day? Well, start by trying to do this. See how far you get right here, right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. No, I won't. So, to start, let's check your mobility. So I can touch my toes, I can even go further. And if I drop my head, I can sit here for a long time and be comfortable. All this chain right here is nice and stretchy and limber. Now we can do some really simple stuff in order to make that true. And also work on some other things that are probably stuck from sitting all day long in a car or on a desk. So to start, let's work on that long chain, that long thing from the bottom of your back down to your heels. So 2, 3, 4, even 5 minutes. I want you to sit down on the ground, feet forward, back straight, and just fall forward. You can put your arms out. You can put your arms to the side. You can grab your toes if you want to. But straight back, fall forward. If you get stuck right here because you're really that stiff, grab some blankets or something that brings your butt up off the ground and gets you some leverage against that stuckness. Those rubber bands that are just really tight and aren't going to let you go forward. So now just stay here. Breathe. Consciously breathe. In for 8, out for 10. If you can't do that, scale it down. In for 6, out for 8. Something like that. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you're not counting. You're just breathing in fully and out fully. Super conscious of your breathing. And then before you realize it, the stretch is done. And you'll be able to come back to a stretch like this and go even further than before. That's just a gauge. That's just to show you that it's working. All right, another stretch. Sit down again, straight back, but now spread your legs out. Not as wide as they can go. Just spread them out to where they're spread. And then again, fall forward into it. Now we're stretching this stuff. When have you ever stretched this before? Or when was the last time? Or what does it naturally? Very little. And then sitting and maybe cross-legged stretches it, but not nearly as much as we're going to do here. So again, if you can't get your, even I can't get very far forward, so I need a folded up blanket. And it brings my butt up off the ground and puts some leverage against that stretch. So then we're going to stretch in here. Again, in for 8, out for 10, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes of this stretch. Long time. Fall asleep in these poses. Don't do much. If you get so comfortable in them that you're texting or reading a book, back up. Make it harder or make it more conscious of your breathing. Slow down. Try to do these before you go to bed. That's another one. That's the seated straddle with the forward bend. The other one is called forward fold. And the next one is going to be the saddle. So this looks intimidating to a lot of people, doesn't it? I mean, your knees are probably screaming just looking at it. If they're not, get in it just the way it is right here. 2, 3, 4 minutes. More breathing. And if you can, if you're brave, start to go back. Now we're stretching this big long chain from here down to your toes. And eventually you'll be able to get into a position like this. Now, you're looking at me like, oh my God, I could never do that. I could not do this 2 years ago. Just 2 years ago. And I've even been able to do it for about a year. With time, but not falling straight into it like I am here. So 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes inside this position. If you can't get this low, again, a pillow, something underneath your butt to raise you up to where you're not stressing out those really tight knees. All right, last pose. The Sphinx or the seal. So I started just in this position here, and then I came down with my hips. And now I'm stretching this chain of muscles that sit hunched over all day long, or they sit in a car all day long. Even when they're standing, you're kind of hunched over. So we want to stretch these too. So big, look up, stretch the front of it, feel it in your hips and in your abs, and again, breathe. Two, 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever you got time for. All of these. Just put it to your schedule, put it to your availability. If you can't get this high up on this one, down to your elbows and look up that way. All right, get to it. So you could do 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and 2 minutes. And you'd be doing a whole lot more than you've been doing. Scale it up if you feel really good in it. Go for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, just chilling there, falling asleep in the pose. And then you'll come back to things like this, and you'll go further than you ever thought you could. Be well.